an account and have logged in successfully to NetSuite. Here I am on the home page, and the first thing that we will discuss is the chart of accounts. You can navigate to the chart of accounts by coming to List Counting Counts. And this will list all the accounts. You have a view up here that will control which accounts you show. You can also choose to show inactives. If you have perhaps made an account inactive and you don't see it here, you want to make sure this is checked. I'll change this to all. I'll sort by number, and this will show you all of your accounts. You can view the register for the account. If you click on the name here, it will show you the transactions for different time frames. Or if you want to see the actual account, you click here on Edit. And this will show you the name, if you want to change the number, if you want to assign to different subsidiaries, you have a few different options here. So we'll click Cancel. If I wanted to set up a new account, I could click New here. And I'd fill in the necessary information, the type, the name, the number, and then if it had a parent, for instance, if you were setting up a new bank, you could say the parent is a cash account. So this will roll up into this 1,000 cash. You can, in the future, if you need to make it inactive, which we went over, this is where you would set it inactive. If it's a summary account, you choose that here, which is what this is. So if you wanted to say that this new bank account rolled up the cash, and then let's say you have a third layer that you want to roll up into this account here, you would click summary. That is chart of accounts. Next, we'll discuss banking. If you hover here in transactions, bank, you'll see a few different options here. You can write a check. Let's say if you were not using a payable account, but you wanted instead just write checks directly to vendors, you could do that here. If you want to make a deposit or transfer funds from bank to bank, this is where you could use a credit card transaction. Reconcile bank is actually here, called match bank data. These are for older accounts. These are not used by NetSuite anymore. So for reconciliation, you actually would come here to match bank data. If you wanted to import your banking history for reconciliation, that would be here. First, let's go into make deposit. So this, when you come to the deposit screen, you have the ability to select the date. This is today's date. You could go backwards to make a deposit in a previous period if you'd like. You select your account, put a memo in, and then down below, you can choose to associate a deposit with a payment. And this is going to move from undeposited funds to deposited in the bank account that you choose. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to move this $100 payment from undeposited to the bank to make it a deposit. I would just select this and click Save. And you can see the GL impact here. So it's going from undeposited funds to the bank. If I just go back, you have a couple different options here. So you have the payments. You also have other deposits. So this would be, um, something not related to an existing transaction. You could choose your account, the amount, the customer or vendor, different fields here like department, class, and you click save. As well, if you had cash back, get into that here. Okay, again, we had the transfer funds option here. We just show that. You just pretty straightforward, select the account you're coming from and that you're putting into, the date and posting period, and the amount, and click save. Okay, printing checks. This assumes that, let's say, you have some payments entered already into the system. You'd come here to transactions, management, um, print checks and forms. You have checks here. So you would select the account that you had already determined on your payment, which in this case, I only have one option. If you have a different accounts assigned to different subsidiaries, you might have a real long list here. You can give it the check number. So let's say you had, 10 different payments. You could select maybe 101 for the first check, and select all of these, if you had multiple payments, and NetSuite would know to start with 101 and then put each subsequent number on the check. You have the different check type depending on how you print checks. And you would just select the check here. It fills in my check number. Click print. And then if I had check stock in the printer, I could go ahead and print. Next, we're going to talk about reconciling bank statements. To get to this screen, you'll go to Transactions, Bank, Match Bank Data. Once you're on the screen, you'll have a couple different options on accounts. You will have bank accounts or credit card accounts. Making sure that your account on the chart of accounts is actually set up to be reconciled. So if we go to this account and click edit, you'll need the use match bank data box checked here. If it's not checked, it won't show up on this screen. This is the same for credit card accounts too. So for match bank data, I will go ahead and choose my account. And once I do that, you'll see that the NetSuite transactions populate on the right side, and the bank transactions that I have already uploaded appear on the left side. And a couple different things or ways you can use to get your bank transactions into NetSuite. One is you can come up here and upload it manually, or if you have the automatic bank feed installed and running, each time you click on your account and update the imported bank data, it'll automatically pull in transactions. To manually upload bank transactions, you would click upload file. On the screen, you would have this is where you would select your CSV file. And here's the template right here. You can actually download it straight from the screen. I've filled in the information for an example. Really important to highlight here is the format on these days is critical. It won't upload unless you have it just like this, where it's 05 22 2023. You need 2-digit month, 2-digit days, and 4-digit years. And the way you do that is you can come here, click format, do custom, and then literally type in mm/dd/year. Then another important thing about this file is you want to make sure that your signs are correct. You want the credit with the negative amount, not like this. And then if you have other information here, the payer, payee, Netsuite internal customer ID, you can fill that in. I didn't do that, but you can. Then once you import it, you click refresh and the transactions appear. And then from this point, you're going to click on the Netsuite, or sorry, the bank transaction on the left and the um, Netsuite transaction on the right. And you're going to keep doing that until you've found all of the transactions. If you have one that you don't want to include, maybe you put it in here by accident, you can actually click on it and then exclude it, and it'll show up on the excluded tab. But once I have matching transactions, I can come down here, and because all the signs were right, the amounts matched, this match sign gets highlighted for you to select. So I'll hit match. So let's say I did that for my entire statement, my bank statement. I found all the NetSuite transactions that matched. I'll go ahead and hit submit. And then I'll come over here to reconcile account statement. And we want to fill in the statement end date. So let's say it's the end of the month. Let's say that my ending statement balance is negative. Let's say it's 2730.28. You'll see over here that since I plugged in the statement balance, all the transactions I matched on the previous screen equals that amount. My difference is 0. So my bank has been reconciled. Let's say, though, that my ending statement balance was positive. Hopefully it is. And let's say it's $5,000. You'll see I have here a difference of $7,700, which just means that maybe there's, deposits that need to be entered. You can pick this reconciliation up as you go. It doesn't have to be all at one time. So you can, throughout the month, reconcile this account and then come back later and finish this. So, but let's say that I did match everything and my difference is 0. I'll go ahead and reconcile. So there you go. If I want to delete the statement, I could do that, come and then start again. Okay, moving on to journal entries. So to make a journal entry, we're going to come to transactions, financial, make journal, which I've created a test transaction here. One thing to cover while I'm on this topic is customizing forms. So if you have the permission, when you're on a transaction, and in this case, journal entry, on the right-hand corner, you have the ability to customize the form. So I'm going to open it up in a new tab. And customizing forms allows you to put more fields on this form. Let's say you've created a custom field. Maybe you wanted to track, I don't know, a certain category of a product or something like that. If you've created the field, you then need to populate it on the form. And that's how you do this, is by customizing the transaction. So when you do that, you have the tabs here, which relates to lines, communication, etc. And then you have field groups. So you see here it says primary information. That's what field groups are. Then you have screen fields. So the main is the main page, the header. Uh, Custom would be if you had anything in here, and it's custom. And then so on. So, and then the lines is the actual line. So this on a transaction, this is what is referred to as the line. So you could actually add more fields here as well if you wanted to track it on the journal entry. So if you had a field that you wanted to populate, you just would come down here and you'd click the box, and then it would show on the form. Okay, going back to the journal entry. So we have the date. You have to select the subsidiary. You notice once I do that, currency, posting period populates. I'm going to leave this in a pending approval status. I'm going to assign myself as the next approver. If you wanted to enter a reversal, you could do that. So maybe you wanted to reverse on the 1st. If you wanted to defer this journal so it doesn't actually, this reversal doesn't get created until 6/1, you would click defer. You could put a memo. And then down below is where you actually enter in the accounts. You notice NetSuite has this out of balance by, so if you had a journal with 100 lines, this would help you keep track of when it gets out of balance. So I'll go ahead and save this. If you have an approval process, it will go into a pending approval, and then on your dashboard, you actually will have a reminder here. You can click refresh. You notice it changed from 1 to 2. So if I click this, and nothing pops up. Oh, there we go. So then we have each journal to approve. So I could mark all if I had a lot, or if I wanted to investigate each one, I could just open them up into a new screen. And then once I did that, I could go ahead and just approve it. Okay. Next, we'll talk about counting periods. So if I come to set up accounting, manage accounting periods, brings up this screen. This is where you'll set up your actual accounting periods. This is important. For example, if you use revenue recognition, if you have a contract that, let's say, goes out 3 years, if you don't have those next years actually created in NetSuite, it will give you problems. So to create a new accounting period, we can set up a full year or individual periods. So in this case, I'll do a new period. I'll say 2026. Standard fiscal calendar months. You have a couple different options here. And then a couple different options on the year and period name. I'll leave it to ending. Go ahead and click save. And now you see that 2026 has been set up. Oh, let's see. So the next thing we'll go over is the actual accounting close process. So if I come here, you'll notice that in this period close column, these have green check marks indicating that these have been closed, and then here it stops. So November 2019 has not been closed. So if I went to try and close 2019 December, it wouldn't let me because November has not been closed. So each month, NetSuite will, uh, in order to close a period, require you to come here and click this checklist. And then depending on your account, you might see a few different things here. I've gone through and run through the process, but for each task, you'll just click this green arrow. And then as your month end close progresses, you'll check each one. You don't, for subsidiaries, you can actually close one by one. It doesn't have to be all at the same time. In order to actually have your month close, however, you'll need to lock them all at some point. But for each task, again, you'll just click the arrow, follow the steps, and NetSuite will do the work for you. So, for example, if you had, if you needed to revalue open foreign currency balances, if you had different currencies, you would just click the arrow, then click currency revaluation, click save, and then once that's done, you click mark task complete, and that would be close, and you move on to the next one, and so on until it's at the very end. You have the close option. Okay, and then the final thing we'll cover here is reporting. So you've done all your accounting, you've entered your transactions, you've reconciled, you've gone through the period close checklist. Over here on reports, you have a lot of different options. Again, depending on your account setup, you might have some of these things, you might not, but you will. Every account will have financial reports. So once I hover over financial, you'll see the basic financial statements. You have income statement, balance sheet, etc. If I go ahead and just click one of these, um, the report pulls up. These A lot of these buttons are sticky, so if I change this date to a different date and I log out and I log back in, NetSuite remembers how you ran it before and will actually pre-populate. You have the subsidiary down here. So again, if you have multiple currencies, the reports will actually consolidate the different currencies into the parent's base currency. One thing to keep in mind. Um, you have the ability to change the column here. So right now we have total, but if I change this to accounting period and click refresh, you'll notice the month is now on the column. So let me just expand this. So I don't have any data prior. That's why nothing's showing. But if I did, you would have more information here. So let me just open this up and see if I can get more examples. There we go. You can drag and drop these columns to reformat. And again, we can change this to different options. If you have custom segments or segments enabled, you can use them here for the columns. One thing to keep in mind, if you add a filter, this will hide it. So we need to expand this. And you can see that we've added additional filters here that will limit the report. To customize this, if you wanted to say, maybe you wanted to just be administration department P&L, you click customize on the filter. You could come down here on department, and let's just add a new one. Didn't like that. So if I come up here in this search field Search department. And add that. And add it down here. And I want to click yes to show it. Oops, and I lost it. It doesn't like that filter. But when you add, if you want to add a filter, you would highlight it from the list. If you wanted to actually show it in your report, you would just make sure to click yes. You have the ability to search for different fields here. You can actually adjust your columns. So if you wanted to add additional fields here, you could just select it from the left. And then you can actually move these around if you wanted to. And once you customize these basic financial reports, you actually won't save over them. NetSuite will not let you. So every time you click customize, it'll automatically do a custom version. You have the ability to share this with people. So you can give different roles or employees the ability to view this report. You can make this a cash basis report. And then a few different options here. You can sort, you can change the layout. If, for example, you wanted to add a calculation in here, you could do that. And then go ahead and click save. And now you see the department on the filter. And that's the same process for the rest of the reports here.